Hey, y'all, welcome back to the Best Life Decide Your Best Life mini series podcast. And today is a good one. I'm going to keep it short and sweet, which is hard for me. If you've listened to the full length Decide It's Your Turn podcast, I'm all over the place. However, today's topic I thought was really, really good. And I wanted to start with this. Today, I want to talk about, this series is all about the mindset. And I wanted to talk about that still small voice. So for me, it's God. As a Christian, it is God. I have not always been a Christian. I didn't even know what it meant to be a Christian about 20 years ago. But for me, that still small voice is God. For you, I don't know if you want to call it intuition, source, universe, whatever you believe. For me, it is God. But I wanted to talk about that still small voice because no matter what you believe, no matter if you believe that you're a religious person or a non-religious person, if you're a faith-based person, I definitely don't consider myself a religious person. I consider myself a person who has a really good relationship with God. And I will tell you that still small voice is one of the most important things you can ever have and learn to listen to on the whole entire planet. And now this matters to your success and this matters to your happiness. And the two things that I care about the most when I work with my clients or why I'm doing this podcast is because I literally want you to be the happiest person you know. And I want you to be the most fulfilled person that you know. I want you to be the most successful person that you know based upon what you believe success is. And now that's a whole nother episode, which maybe I should do a short one on. So tell me if I should. But today's episode is about listening to that still small voice. And I really, really want you to hear this. You have that still small voice inside of you. I was looking at a devotional the other day and it said, daydreams are the will of God for your life. I want to say that again. In a devotional that I was reading, it said, daydreams are the will of God for your life. And I totally believe that. As a coach, my job is not to give my clients anything. It's to help them listen to what is already inside of them. And I'll tell you, one of the number one issues I come across is the fact that people do not know how to listen to that still small voice or their intuition. Everyone knows exactly what they have to do. And if we could shut up the noise, if we could shut up everyone around us, if we could shut up those doubts, those fears, those insecurities, those what ifs, and the number one thing is everyone forgets what the next step is. They're already thinking about the 10th step and the what if and the what if and the what if. And that prevents them from doing the thing that is absolutely 100% inside of them to do. And it is the thing that's going to make them the most happy and is the thing that'll probably make them most successful in this world. And I am not only talking about financially, because there is some people that are very, very financially well off and miserable human beings and not living in what is their daydreamed God-giving purpose. They're not listening to that still small voice inside of themselves. And my only hope for you and my hope for everyone is that they listen to that still small voice inside of themselves, because that voice, that intuition, that God whisper that we all know exists, like we must know from, obviously I don't have children. So if you didn't know that, I don't have children, but I know that kids know what to do. Kids know the intuition. And then us adults, we really just fuck them up. That's what adults do. We just screw up little kids who already know, but we fill them with the doubts and the insecurities and like, oh, that's not possible. Little kids, they just think that everything's possible. I kind of go back to athletics sometimes. If you've ever watched a little kid on the golf course, obviously I have a golf background, but I'll watch a little kid on the golf course, and those little kids are the best putters in the whole entire world. Why? They stand up, they hit the ball and they make it go in the hole, because there's no doubts, there's no fears, there are no insecurities. No one's told them that they're not supposed to make 50-foot putts. No one's told them that they should try harder, that they have to line it up correctly and all the things. No, they grab the putter and they hit the ball in the hole because they believe that they can. And that's kind of what I'm talking about. Like that intuition, that knowing, that belief inside of yourself that you want to do something. I always say that I always know what my next step is. And I'm not perfect. And a lot of my clients, they come to me with, the doubts, the fears, the insecurities, the what ifs, what if it doesn't work? What if I shouldn't spend the money? What are people going to think? All of those things that prevent people from trusting and listening to that still small voice. But I'm sure each of you listening today have probably had those moments where you just trusted your gut, you trusted your intuition, you listened to that small, still voice inside of yourself. You went left instead of going right. I mean, how many things have you ever encountered in your life? And perhaps it's not enough because perhaps something happened to you, or someone said something, or you've lived in fear based upon certain things that have gone on around you, or you just quit listening to it. You've quit figuring out how to listen to it. I will always say that, for me personally, and a lot of my clients too, the fastest way to start listening to yourself again is to get still and to get quiet and find those moments that you just are in bliss. And I have trained myself over the last probably 15 or so years, and maybe it hasn't been that long, but I have literally been training myself. Last podcast was about, I said, if you do something for 10,000 hours, you're going to get better at it. If I feel like I am not listening to myself, if I am so out of alignment, even I don't know if you know about human design. I'm not an expert in it by any means, but I know my human design is that when I am stressed out and overwhelmed, I don't trust myself. I don't listen to myself. So I have to get back to myself. And for me personally, there's no easier way for me to get back to myself than to be outside, to be in nature, to get into gratitude, to truly listen to myself. And I would encourage you to find that thing that allows you to listen to that intuition, listen to that still small voice. And then every time you get 2 steps ahead, or you're on the 10th step about why it couldn't work, or why you shouldn't do it, or what are people going to think, or, your family history, that's a big, big part of it. I've had people come to me over the years and want to work with me that have no one around them that has been successful, or done something outside of the box, or done something completely different than everyone else. I've had people come to me, their families are super successful in one area, in one career choice, and they want to do something completely different that's so outside of the box. And everyone tells them, that's silly. Why would you do that? Why would you want to do that? You have this path. Well, probably because it's that still small voice inside of them. Probably because that's the thing that brings them the most amount of joy. I tell people all the time, it's hard to explain to someone who doesn't know anything about the power of the mind or power of personal development that I'm a performance coach, that I'm a mindset coach. They immediately associate that with oh, you're a golf coach, or why in the world would you quit golfing? Well, because golfing did not bring me the joy and the fulfillment and the absolute passion I have on this planet for helping people trust their intuition or live the life that they are literally born. God put this inside of you, source, God, intuition, whatever, put it inside of you for you to live out fully. And every single time you don't trust it, or every single time you deny it, or when you're not making the space to actually listen to it, you're denying your purpose, you're denying your joy, and it may not always monetize. I always say that I feel so blessed that I literally get to monetize what is my purpose on this planet. Golly, how lucky am I? But don't always think that it has to monetize. You might have the most amount of passion for something that you will never make a dollar doing, and there is nothing wrong with that. Go make your money in this area and live your life fully in this area. It does not have to be the same thing. Sometimes it can be, but it doesn't always have to be. But your biggest thing that I would encourage you to do is find the space to listen to yourself. Find whatever you need to be doing. Maybe it's gardening, maybe it's skiing, maybe it's biking, maybe it's reading a book, maybe it's sitting by the pool, maybe it's listening to classical music. I don't know. Maybe it's raving. I have a client. She's crazy. I love her so much, but she loves to party and rave. And that's where she feels most alive and most, connected to source. Figure out how to connect to source. Figure out what is inside of you and quit denying that and quit thinking that it won't work. For most people, I always say I never want to be average. I never want to be most people. And of course, my yard people are starting. So this is my key to end this quick mini podcast for you. But I want you to remember, you don't want to be most people. If you're listening to this podcast, you don't want to be most people. You don't want to be average. You want to live your life. You want to trust that small, still voice inside of you. And so my best advice to you is figure out how to trust that, and then figure out how to have someone hold you accountable to the thing that you know you need to do on this planet, whether it makes you $1 or it just brings you the most amount of joy. Quit denying it. You know it. Trust it. Believe it. Look for signs. Look for those God signs that are undeniable, that come from Him, that come from the universe, come from Source, to say, hey, I put it inside of you. Listen to it, damn it. So I hope today's podcast helps you. And do not forget that daydreams are the will of God for your life. So quit denying them. Figure out how to trust them. Figure out how to pay attention, because it is there for each and every single one of us. I'll see you guys tomorrow.